All right. So that I know kind of where how to have this conversation. Basically, I need to know kind of what your familiarity with AI is. So if you're comfortable, I'd love to go around and just tell me your name, where you live, and what you know about how you're using AI right now, like where you're at with it. Do you feel like you're like a super user and you're like writing code all and making apps, or are you like you know nothing and you want to learn today, or somewhere in the middle? I'd love to hear kind of what tools you're using and all that stuff, so that I know kind of where we should start. I'll start just to kind of give you an idea. And if you don't want to take a turn, just if you don't mind just putting in the chat your answer, if you're comfortable with that, or you could just not do any of those things. It's totally up to you. Um, but okay, so my name is Rebecca Driscoll, and I'm very excited to be here today. And I am not like a coding whiz or like AI freak, like in any way, but I found that it was really easy to become like very knowledgeable, like very quickly, just by simply asking AI questions and it like helping me figure it out. So I used ChatGPT a little bit, and then people kept talking about Claude. And then one of the firm owners that I help with his firm, he showed me like the Chrome extension for Claude and how it was taking over his screen. And he opened up QuickBooks and it was moving things around in there. And I was like, okay, I need to like take this seriously and look at these like Claude and these tools, because there's some crazy stuff happening here and I'm like totally behind on it. And one thing led to another, and suddenly I was like learning what HTML was and deploying things and shipping things and like just doing all this like coding and stuff, and it happened so quickly, like and I don't know what any of it means, but it's like so easy to build these things. So I the way I've been describing it to people is like utilizing these tools is sort of like strengthening a muscle that is new for us that we never had before. So there's just like so many things in our day-to-day life and in work that we could just be asking Claude or whoever to do for you, or to help you think through. So I'm starting to, every task I do, think about, could I get some assistance from AI to do that task? And it's, sometimes I'll forget, oh yeah, I could have just asked, so I'm really embracing it now. And I've built a lot of really cool tools and a lot of cool things, and saved myself a ton of time and a ton of money, by building these things, with Claude specifically. And I live in Virginia, but so that's kind of where I'm at. And I'd love to hear from anyone who's brave enough to share. Anybody want to go next?
Say, I can go, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Okay, so my name is Natalie Coutat. I am based in sunny and very hot Sarasota, Florida.
Oh, nice.
And I started my firm last year. I've kind of sort of experimented with AI, and honestly, this may be kind of betraying my own ignorance, but I haven't found it very helpful. Like, I feel like I can do what I want to do faster on my own because I always end up just correcting it slash tweaking it anyway. So definitely want to learn more because I keep hearing people saying how great it is, and I feel like I'm missing something. So definitely open to learning more and expanding my horizons.
Perfect. That's a great answer. And I lived in St. Pete for 10 years, and we just moved up to Virginia for
Oh,
a new
nice.
job, my husband's new job. So I know the Sarasota area.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah, very cool. All right. Thank you for sharing. Who else, anybody else want to share? We don't all have to share, but it would just be good to get a general understanding of where you guys are at with your AI journey.
I'll hop in here. So, John Carruthers, I am in Seattle, Washington, and similar to Natalie, I've used it for some basic things. I'm on the financial planning side primarily, and AI gives a lot of really bad stuff on that side. So I use it more for like notes, consolidating things, generating ideas for doing articles, that type thing.
Cool. Very cool. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else? Is there anyone, you can use the hand raising thing at the bottom. Is there anyone who's like super advanced with AI? Are you going to tell us? Tell us what you've been doing.
I wanted everyone else to like sort of give their intro. I didn't want to like jump in here. But I was gonna say, Rebecca, I'm the opposite of you because I was like the nerd learning how to like code automations in Adobe to print only the first 2 pages of the invoices because I worked at a law firm and we had to like print constantly all these. And then I had a bunch of, and I was literally going on like Adobe forums trying to figure out how to code. And this was back in 2020, like right before AI. And then once like ChatGPT came out, I hit the ground running with like starting to like write app scripts in Google and like automate a bunch of things and little by little build things up. The thing that I'm most concerned about is that the new features are happening so quickly. It's like a fire hose. And I'm like, I only got on the Claude train like a month ago. And happens to me, I've now been utilizing it a lot. I'll share a website I created using Claude
Please.
in the chat, but it's so nerve-wracking that like maybe I'm missing something. And I want to believe that like I actually, my thesis is that I don't think I am actually missing something. I think it's way more about your mindset and how you utilize AI and have a mindset to utilize it rather than making sure to catch up with every single new tool. But I could talk about this forever.
Thank you. No, thank you. And I hope you do. I hope you like please keep chiming in. I appreciate that.
Yeah, just drop the link in the chat. This is a super nerdy thing, but it's a internal revenue code like study tracker. But then I also made a reader inside so you can read the code inside of that. And I made like a bunch of really cool features. So feel free to explore, give me feedback. And yeah, it was fun. It was a fun project, but not easy actually, or a lot harder than you might think.
So why was it not easy?
Because even with AI, you still have to, number one, set up a database platform to hold all the data. You have to have a website to deploy the actual website. So that's Supabase and Vercel. And then you also have to have GitHub to sync the code to the cloud, which again, like once you do it once, like, oh, okay, sort of. And it's not like that much harder than signing up for Facebook, but you have to like follow instructions, which part of my theory is that us as accountants, we actually have the ability to look at a really long, complicated list of instructions and go line 1, okay, da 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 da, and we actually read through it and are able to implement, as opposed to most people where they look at that and go, oh my gosh, I can't do that. So even if you're going to make cool stuff with AI, you need to be able to follow instructions. I mean, obviously now maybe that's not the case with like Claude Cowork because maybe it can just go sign up for those websites itself, but I still haven't gotten that far yet. But I was doing it through Claude and then downloading the files and then uploading it to GitHub. But then I finally figured out how to get Claude Code working, and now it's like much faster and does a much better job. So
yeah,
but even that was not so simple.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying now. Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's true that you have to be good at following instructions, but like I've gotten so lazy that I'll have Claude up on my screen and then I'll open the Claude extension and say, read what the other Claude is saying and just do it. Like, I don't even want to know about this. Like, just,
That's awesome.
and I'm starting to think of them as like employees, like kind of just like I'm delegating, and just, you do this, you read that, you figure it out. The other thing is I downloaded this, Whisper Flow, which I will put in the chat.
I was using that for a little bit and I still haven't gotten used to the whole idea of talking. I think because I'm a really good typist, I think better with typing than I do talking.
Okay, so it might not be for you then if you do think better with typing. I just find that if I want to really like talk something, if I like if you were building the thing that you just shared with us and you had like a bunch of edits that you wanted it to make, you could just like conversationally talk through like each thing that you're seeing that's wrong with it, and it
Yeah.
will create like a bulleted list of what you're saying and like have it be in like perfect punctuation and grammar and everything. So it like certain things that I just kind of want to be a stream of consciousness and just talk,
Yeah.
and talk a lot. Like it's just so much faster.
So have you found Whisper to be better for actual writing or getting out your thoughts for like an AI project?
I think it's equally amazing. But like if you are trying, it knows like when to like do a comma and get to the next paragraph and like
Maybe I should retry it then.
yeah,
Okay.
and like I feel like I'm like old now because I'm like saying like period, comma, exclamation mark, but like you don't even have to do that with whisper flow. Like it knows all of that.
That's
So
great.
sometimes it's like typing out exclamation mark like because it's like no, I know to do an exclamation mark. I'm just assuming you're asking me like to type that. Like of course I know how to use punctuation. So yeah, I really think like, now that I have that, I can just like really get stuff done. Yeah. So let's talk about all the different parts of Claude and what, and then, and first let me explain why we're even talking about Claude. Okay. So ChatGPT is out and Claude is in. And that could change tomorrow or this afternoon. And like Yehuda said, like things are moving so quickly. It's insane. So everything we know to be true right now could literally be completely different tomorrow. Good people to follow are Jason Stats. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's like a big accounting influencer, I guess you could say. He's got a YouTube channel and a podcast, and he's really putting the time in to stay current on all of this. And he has the context of accounting, like owning an accounting firm. So that's really nice to hear from him. There's also Chad Davis, who you can find on LinkedIn, and he has a little community you can join called Automation Town. And he is also like really up on all of this stuff. So even if you just followed him on like LinkedIn, you'd probably get a lot of great information from him. So yeah, Chad and Jason are kind of like if they say something about security, like with what we can put in, I just like believe them because they're putting a lot more time into the research than I am, and they have a lot more context than I do. But yeah, so Claude just keeps like the way I've officially switched from ChatGPT to Claude was I just kept giving them the same assignment to do, and I just kept being more impressed with what Claude was producing. And when you sign up for Claude, it asks if you want to transfer all your ChatGPT stuff over. And for the longest time, I just couldn't even think of a use case of like, kind of like what Natalie was saying, like, or John, like, I just couldn't really think of like what it could really do for me. But like if you were to open up Claude and say like, look at my website for my business and give me like all the things that you think are wrong with it and all the things that I could improve, and then do it. It would just like happen in like a minute. Like it would just do it. And then it might say like, well, I don't have access to your like web designer, like web tool, or like, and you would talk through like giving it access to things. Once you've connected certain apps to it, you can ask it to like go look at things in places, and you don't have to be logging into those places to go have it look there. So like you could say like, can you design like, a logo in Canva for me for my website? Or can you look in my email and grab this? Can you, whatever you want it to do, you don't have to then go to those websites. It's all, you can just stay in Claude because you've connected those things. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of Double, which is like, it used to be Keeper, and it's like a bookkeeping tool that attaches to QuickBooks and Xero. You could just say like, tell me like what's going on with all the bookkeeping projects in Double, and it will just like summarize it without you even having to log into Double, like, because that's just like an accounting example of, once you've connected tools to it. And the phrase like to know if that tool will connect is like if it has an MCP connector. That's like the buzzword of like that you can connect it with Claude. So then Claude has like a desktop app and then a web browser version, which are like the same thing. But on the desktop app, you can use this thing called Cowork. And Cowork can do like routine tasks like around your computer. You can tell it like, go into these files and download this and organize them, rename all these folders, do that kind of stuff. So it can actually do stuff on your computer itself, not just like on the web, but it can also do stuff on the web for you too. And you can like see it moving, like you can see a mouse moving on your screen and it's like doing stuff, and it asks your permission before it does each thing, and you have to authorize stuff, but it really can get things done like on the back end for you. You can also press a button to create a skill, so you would teach it like what it needs to know about how to do something, all the steps, so that if you have any like routine processes, like it can just follow the skill for that. A skill could be like you're a staff accountant and you have a basic understanding of the tax code, like, and you have to organize like these work papers, or it could be, you could give it documents like for it to reference for the skill. There's also Cloud Projects, and that's a place where you can like import a bunch of files and folders and documents and say, okay, these are your frame of reference. The instructions are that whenever I ask you something, you use these specific resources, and we're going to just work on things. So like, let's say you had a project for each of your clients, like, and you put, we're ignoring security for a second. So let's say you put like everything about your clients into like different projects for each client. And then you would ask questions like, where are we at with this? How much money did they make last year? What, give me an analysis of, based on their last set of financials, where we're at, like also like what suggestions can I have for them? Like, what are the bottlenecks in their company? Like now we can start adding more services as accountants, because we can start creating tools for business owners. If you have clients who are business owners, or maybe you even have, just like regular taxpayers who might like a certain tool to help them organize information throughout the year would be really helpful. There's all sorts of use cases. Ronnie?
So at what point do our current customers or potential customers in a year become just as educated as us, and then it's a race to the bottom for pricing?
Yeah. So that's,
Obviously, it's a time thing if they want to have a professional do it, but
yeah.
This is like the burning question for me.
Right. Yeah, it's a great question, and it's very scary, and yeah, it does not feel good. There's already like, certain annoying clients that are like, well, I ran the tax return, through ChatGPT after you gave it to me, and it said this, and and it's like, yeah, this is like a real concern. So, not everyone is going to trust AI, so you're always going to have people who like still just want you to do it. But I think that this is where we have to really start looking at like, what can we add on to the service that AI can't do? I don't think that like every one of our clients is going to actually take the time to learn everything about AI. And it might be years out, and maybe they will then, but like, if they know that you are ahead of the game on it and you're utilizing the tools, and you're staying ahead of it, they might just defer to you and say, okay. Now you bring up a good point, Ronnie, that like, what about saving money? Like, aren't they going to just want to do the cheapest thing possible? And that's when we do need to get creative with like, well, what other value can we add? And you could literally just ask Claude this. You could say like, Claude, my concern is you're about to take my job. Like, what else can I do? And like, Claude can give you ideas, which is kind of like ironic and weird, but yeah, like he'll give you like incredible ideas. Like it's really smart. But like, so Ronnie, do you have clients who are business owners?
Yeah, some bookkeeping clients that are business owners. I'm still learning tax,
Okay.
so I don't necessarily feel as comfortable acting as a professional. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to subcontract that out, but
Right.
I'm just, we're all on this pursuit trying,
Yeah.
get the EA and whatnot. But it's like I'm trying to find, okay, where's the value proposition in putting all this work in if,
Sure.
Claude is better than the EA.
Yeah, and it might get to the point pretty quickly where, if the documents are imported, the tax return can get filled out, but is AI going to know like garbage in, garbage out? Is it really going to really know like that the right documents are in there? Is it
Right.
going, all that stuff? Like, so, I think it's like the peace of mind that like a real human who really knows this stuff is going to, really take the time to look at it. But like with business clients, I just keep thinking like, we should start asking our business clients what problems do they wish they could solve in their businesses. And like they're busy, they might not take on this AI stuff,
Right.
at all. And like what could you build them like a cool tool? Like if you look in the chat, the client analyzer tool I put in there, that took me like 3 minutes to make. And I don't know how to make that. I just said I wish I had a tool that could do this, and it just like made it like very quickly. And like so I don't like know anything, like it's just like really that easy to use. So like you could be creating tools and things, and maybe it's like a tool that goes along with the delivery of a tax return, or like there we do have to kind of get creative of like what can we be adding on. But like what it's really, and I think the biggest thing is to ask clients what is keeping them up at night, and what problems do they wish they could solve, like in their professional life, or in their tax life, or whatever. And like then those are the things for us to think about with AI, like how can we use AI as a tool to help them solve those problems for them.
Have you seen, well, ChatGPT now announced on Friday the finance extension that they just built, and I'm like, wow, well, that pretty much is killer to the bookkeeping. I would say tax still has that knowledge mode, but as far as
It's like I have to add a little caveat to that. So I'm sure you're all familiar. The connection that connects the banks to platforms is something
that's
like Plaid.
Plaid, yeah,
Okay,
Plaid.
I used to be the finance manager for Kalshi. I was the one who paid the Plaid bill every month. When we actually started having real, like, actual use, it was like $100,000 a month,
Wow.
which means right now all of these use cases are being subsidized by investor dollars, which means there's going to come a point where professionalism and like consumer grade products are going to separate just from a dollar perspective. Like it can only last so long. It's cool. It's still computers. Okay, I have a lot. I've been writing a list.
Yeah, no,
No,
I mean
yeah,
that
exactly.
we should back up to that. Like, yeah, like right now it's affordable to get these like subscriptions, but like that's why I'm like so busy in here, because I know that this isn't gonna last forever. Like, the prices are gonna go up an insane amount. And there will be guardrails that are put in place eventually. I agree on that. So yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen as quick. I think it's still worth pursuing the EA and going through this, because there's still going to be applications that you can do with that knowledge. And maybe you'll just be able to pump out tax returns faster because of the tools, but maybe you'll just end up being able to be more profitable because you'll be able to do more faster. I don't know. But you can create your own software really, really easily. So I am worried about software companies, because like you don't need to buy like a practice management system anymore, because you can just like build something completely custom. I mean,
Can I politely disagree?
sure.
And this is one of my items. Well, just to back up for a second. Number one is to answer your question. We've had TurboTax for a long time. The reason people haven't utilized these tools is because they don't want to think about it. They don't want to read the output, even if it's in the style of like a 60s jazz song. They have no interest in listening to the output of a tax return. So they hire us to just take care of it. It doesn't mean we shouldn't be aware of it, but still, like, I think that factor still exists even in the age of AI. Number two, there still needs to be a human ethically taking responsibility. So even if we're utilizing AI and they're utilizing AI, at some point in the loop, like banks are not going to give out loans with confirmations from AI bots. Like there just needs to be somebody. A third thing, I was at a conference last week and Hector Garcia was there. You guys may be familiar with him. If not, get familiar with him. He has a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of content online. He's one of the right tool people. And he was saying specifically on this topic, now's the opportunity where you can actually reach out to your clients and say, hey, let me proactively teach you how to utilize AI in your business. You're a business owner. Let me show you how to utilize AI to review your profit and loss statement so you can ask questions on it and better understand it. That way, instead of them looking at you as a professional, this is what Hector was saying, looking at you as a professional, separating them from AI, or like being like, don't use AI, use me as the professional. No, no, no.
Yeah.
They're watching you embrace AI, and then they're going to trust you to be
Yes.
the source of truth. And then that last thing is, Rebecca, I'm going to politely disagree with you. I don't think we can all of a sudden start throwing off responsibility, like not having to buy practice management software, because software, I worked in a software company for a bunch of years. Like the amount that goes into like creating something securely that will actually work moving forward, that is a solution, generationally across the years, is a lot much of a bigger pull than our current thing. I mean, the website I posted, I have no idea if it could like be hacked and then all of a sudden, luckily I don't have any payment info like hooked up to any of those services. But if I did, all of a sudden, like I actually had this. I one time was utilizing a tool some college professor set up, and I tried downloading the entire internal revenue code as a PDF. And then I emailed her to be like, hey, why isn't your website working? And she was like, oh, that's why my website went down, because you pushed too many buttons and now I'm gonna have a huge bill. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea that like there
Yeah.
was something else on the end there. So eh, I still think, for small tools for sure, or planning but I think we're still gonna need to take responsibility in terms of uh, uh large tools in general. But that's,
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, all I know is it's just happening so quickly that
Right.
like we say today that, we can't responsibly create like tools with the right security, but how do we know there's not going to be like Claude security module tomorrow that comes out and builds something? I have, a few colleagues who are building software right now. One is a bookkeeping firm who he will have Carbon replaced in a few months, and he's only put like 2 months into this, but he pays $50,000 a year for Carbon for practice management. And I mean, he's in a niche industry, and he's been able to like take all the nuances from his specific industry and like really build something custom. So I agree with you that it's really best for us to just focus on small tools right now. But like you can build really cool custom things, like even something like a to-do list, like a dashboard command center for you to look at every day of your life. You can say like,
Yeah.
these are all the moving parts of my life. Like I don't want to use, some generic like task management software for like, whatever. I want you to make me something that feels like really custom to me and plugs in my specific things. Like, so there, and maybe that would be great. Like, in the financial planning space, like maybe you could create like a smaller piece, a smaller tool that like helps you organize your business in some way, or, so there's like things we can do to increase efficiency internally. And then we can really go after our clients and say like, hey, we're on top of this. We're ahead of this. What problems can we solve in your business? Like, now you don't have to ask me questions about your P&L, because I'm going to teach you how to ask Claude about it. And like, we're going to work on this together. Or you can start delivering like really cool summaries each month, like when you send them their financials. Like, there's a lot of interesting things there.
Yeah.
We should talk about security.
Oh, I was gonna say, Rebecca, it's very funny, to Natalie's point. She says we aren't security professionals, yet the SOC 2 compliance standard is from CPAs. It's from the AI CPA, which is very funny when you think about it. It makes no
It's like,
sense.
no, we're literally the gurus. It's just like we in this room are not the security professionals,
In
but like,
the accounting industry is the one certifying security,
yes,
which has more to do with
like publicly traded
controls than
companies. Yeah,
specifically the technical security. But it is very funny.
yes,
I
yes.
sat through a SOC 2 audit, like as the financial, uh, basically controller of the organization, connecting all of the different people and workflows, and it's a lot. So yeah,
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So like what's interesting is like take someone like Jason Stats and like his philosophy on the security issue is that like, if you have any apps right now that you're using in your business, like QuickBooks or, you know, a lot of like Carbon or Canopy or Taxdome, if any of those have like an AI feature in there that's like that, like a significant AI piece to it, like you've already given AI like access to like all of your client sensitive information. So his thought is that, you know, if you purchase the, you know, expensive Teams version and, you know, toggle a few different like settings in there, you know, and make sure like you don't authorize them to like train on your data, then like it's no different to put like sensitive information in there versus, you know, outside of there. So, you know, I don't know. I don't own a firm anymore. I sold my firm. So I don't have any sensitive information to put into AI. So I'm using it for other things. But like, yeah, I don't know if I had clients right now, what I would do. I know that some people have either designed very quickly on their own or have purchased like a scrubbing tool that can just, you know, redact very quickly. So they kind of just like take a document, put it in the redactor, and then put it into Claude or whatever, you know, like something like that kind of workflow, so that they can, you know, analyze tax returns or put together work papers or, you know, whatever they want to do. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think like what I'm hearing a lot is like it's about your risk appetite, and you know everyone has a different risk appetite when it comes to like what they're comfortable with. You know, I've been running this weekly like Zoom call for AI for accountants, and there's people in there who are building like their own, you know, LLM things, like their own platform like Claude, like with their own models so that they can fully control things. There are people who are hiring developers to, you know, like bigger firms that are hiring developers to sort of have like a human professional kind of like oversee what's going on with all of this and help them design things. You know, I'm reading John's comment. Is there an easy way to create an agent that would be stored locally on a device and not sent? Yes. And so that was one thing that came up in this most recent like AI Lab for Accountants call, which I can put the link here if you guys want to start coming to those meetings. They're just like a free meeting on Wednesdays. A lot of people in there were saying that like you could be using no, this is important to talk about. Like you could just like a lot of and like I didn't know what a script was. Like I still don't think I know what a script is, but like a lot of things that we think we need to use like an AI agent for or an LLM, like you could just write a script and then and do that locally and have, you know, you could have a script doing things with your work papers and things so that it's not actually like going to the AI cloud. So, you know, I think if you had a conversation with Claude and said, I really want to start using some of these tools, you know, here's the workflow I have right now, but I'm very serious about like sensitive information. Like here's my entire workflow and everything I do to prepare a tax return. Tell me where could I, you know, use a script to help me. Like it would give you some opportunities and explain, you know, like, oh, like you could have a script, and those scripts are local and they're not like, there's no way for AI to get your information with a script, from what I understand. So yes, there are a lot of things that you could be doing. So when we're thinking about like, how can we like even figure out what we should be using it for? Like the way I started doing that was I would just like give Claude like a summary of how I'm doing something in my life. Like this is the workflow, this is the process that I do. Like give me feedback of, is there anything I could be doing to optimize or be more efficient? And like that's when things started clicking of like, well, HTML we can do this and we can make that, and like, and then I would say I don't know what that means, and then it would just do it, you know. Like, so I think starting to just think of like every task you're doing of like, could this be optimized in some way? You might not even be able to imagine what you could do, but like AI could imagine it for you. Yeah. So it's interesting stuff, but like it's weird because I feel like 50% like so excited and like waking up at 4 a.m. before my kids wake up so I can like do a bunch of cool things with it and like makes things super efficient like in my professional life. And then the other 50% is like depressed. Like some of your comments have been in the chat of just like, gosh, this doesn't seem great. Like this kind of seems messed up, like I'm a little bit uncomfortable with this. I like don't know what my future holds. Like, so it's weird to be like so excited and so like sad at the same time. So that's when I'm kind of like, well, might as well figure out a way to benefit from this, right? Like, like I guess I'm just trying to see like what opportunities can I grab from this. So like what like I am saving a lot of money by like designing websites really quickly that normally I would pay a designer to do and it would take a long time to make. And I guess yes, I feel bad for the designer that now isn't getting my money. Like that stinks. Like I don't love that. But it's yeah. It's a very like complex mixed emotions thing. Alexander, yes. I think that Claude can fully replace ChatGPT. There's been talk of like ChatGPT being better at certain things. But I mean, I don't know. It just seems like Claude is right now just the one that is coming up with all of the most innovative, newest like features every day and like the craziest stuff. So to me, it seems better. But you could ask like on the free version of both, you could ask it the same thing a few times to just keep kind of comparing to see which one you're more impressed with. But yeah, the marketing, Ronnie, is like, all my bookkeeping is done now. Like, it's a bookkeeper. It's a, yeah, this is all just so new and it's happening so fast that it's like kind of like Yehuda was saying is like we don't really know where it's all going to land in a year and in months. Like it is all going to change. Like it's not going to be this crazy forever. Like something is going to happen. But yeah, I don't know.
But we do know human nature is going to stay the same, and knowledge has gotten super cheap in the past 20 years. That hasn't stopped professionals from being professionals.
And that's a great point because it's like, yeah, what was stopping people from doing their own tax returns all this time? How many people have come to you or will come to you when you start practicing, if you haven't started yet, and they, you look at their tax return and you're like, or their info and you're like, you don't need me to do this. Like you could do this return yourself. Like you might think that in your head. Like it doesn't matter. Like not everyone thinks like us. Not everyone would consider getting an EA license. Like a lot of people like feel physically ill when they think of like like anything with numbers or taxes. Like, so I agree that like some people are like, no matter how convenient or free it is, like they're not going to do this. Like they are going to stay your customer. Like I don't know, like there's a lot of things that like I will always pay someone to do, even if I could, like, it comes to value, right? Like, what do you value? Like, it's not always about getting the cheapest tax return done. Like people value, the peace of mind with a human and the relationship that they're building and like the access to you and the trust that like you might not get like shut down tomorrow or have a glitch, like that, you're a real person. So yeah, I mean,
one thing I find very funny about ChatGPT and even Claude is very often I'll ask it for something and it'll give me a response. And the response is in technically what's called markdown, which is like, when you go into Word and you say create a bullet list, but when you copy and paste that from Claude or more ChatGPT than Claude, it does not actually paste the formatting. So it'll be like a nice bullet point, and then you go to paste it and it looks horrible. And I find it so funny that we're still stuck with these like
the simple things,
idiosyncrasies. And I have to tell ChatGPT like, no, I need a numbered, or I'll tell Claude, I need a numbered list, but do the one with a colon instead of a period. So that way it doesn't automatically turn it into Markdown and then make me not able to copy and paste it into WhatsApp or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes Claude will give like a Word file, which is nice, but way overdone. And like we're still being juggled with like
Yes.
highly advanced and simultaneously like really not smart.
Yes, yes. This is young. Like there's a lot of growing up that needs to happen. And that happened to me today with pasting something and then it all like bunched together in a paragraph. But then I think I was in Google Docs maybe, and like a little AI thing was like a magic wand was above it. And I was like, make this paragraph into a bulleted list again. And then it just like fixed it. So then I was like, oh, well, there's AI everywhere. So, if one AI
It's like the idea of me printing out a PDF to
Yes.
mail to you for you to scan to then
Yes.
it's like what are we even
Yes.
doing here?
Yeah.
One really good use case of Gemini in Chrome, because it can read web pages. I had this where there was like 4 transactions I wanted to ask my client about. And I just said, "Hey, give me these transactions in bullet points." Because otherwise I'd have to go on March 21st, you spent $300 on da, 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 and like it was able to pull it. Now I usually have that automated in Taxstone, but this was like a specific uh um different like whatever, I forgot the word, like for some reason it didn't work with these specific transactions. So like that is a great use case specifically with Gemini, although I'm still nervous to like let Claude go wild on like all my web pages. But I did have it find a compatible light bulb for my smart light switches, and that was really great, so that was fun.
I think
You-
anything that you're spinning your wheels on, or it just feels like overwhelming to have to like research something or think about anything, whether in your personal or professional life, like figuring out the light bulb situation or like anything that just feels like, this kind of feels like it would be more effort than I feel like putting in.
yeah.
Like it can do. Like I had to prepare a PowerPoint for a presentation and it was like, yeah, I don't need to be like formatting text boxes anymore. Like that's not a good use of my time. Like these tools can do that very well. Like,
Or downloading, I had to download for the HOA I work for, or whatever, volunteer for. I had to download 291 files from like the online file system because we might be moving, and I just said, Claude Cowork, go for it. And I just had to click save 291 times, but that was a lot easier than me having to click through every single little thing because there's no way to just export the whole thing.
yeah. 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 And like like the Chrome extension for Claude, it's not like all your websites. It's only the ones you put like in this umbrella to work on. So
In the group, yeah.
yeah, so you can control it. But yeah, I mean, like I think Jason Stat said don't use the Chrome extension yet because it is kind of in beta still, and it has like gone and done crazy things on someone's computer or something. I don't like. I don't think I would use it for any client work, but yeah, it's and then we go on to like social media and we're just looking at like AI written posts and AI written comments, and like your AI is sending an email and then someone else's AI is responding, and then it's like, wait, like humans aren't even talking anymore. It's all like, yeah, it's like it's very overwhelming. But I think the shortcuts that these tools can help us have and the like getting our work done quicker and getting answers faster, like that's exciting. And when any of us can find like a tool or a prompt or something that can help us, it's fun to share those things with each other and to get better and faster and smarter together. Like to have these resources like at our fingertips could be really exciting if you had a very overwhelming thing to do, or maybe a client that you felt like you weren't super confident to take on. Now you have like a whole nother brain that you can ask like to help you like with the learning curve and stuff. So, it is exciting, but we do need to think about, how do we keep showing and delivering value to our clients that sets us apart, and like prove that we're, still worth investing in. And that's hard, like it's going to take some creative thinking for sure. But I do think that we have a lot of time until that happens. Cause like you said, like TurboTax is here, like people could have just been using that. Like, how do you even have any clients? Like, shouldn't they have all disappeared already? So I don't think everyone will see the value in switching to have AI do their taxes. Like I think some people will not want to do that.
I was honestly so surprised that AI is taking this long to do everything. In November of 2022, when ChatGPT came out, I immediately clocked, here's what the future of AI is going to look like, and we still haven't gotten there. Like, we're still struggling to get past the initial like hallucination. Oh, I learned a really good new word for. Apparently, there's another technical word for hallucinations. I was just writing an AI ethics blog, and what I did was part of NAEA, we talked about different ethics things in one of the committee meetings, and so I said I'll write on AI and ethics. So we talked about a few different points that we wanted to put in the blog post, and I took that, put it into Claude, had Claude write the blog post, but then I wrote the disclosure at the end to point out that ethical good use of AI would be that you disclose like, hey, this was generated with AI. And then I wrote in the disclosure, ironically, this disclosure was not written with AI. But the word that it came out with was confabulate.
Huh.
I've never heard of this word before, but if you Google it, it's like the more technical word of what AI hallucinations are, which I just thought was really funny.
Yeah, it like sometimes like crazy stuff comes out and you're like, whoa. Or like with Claude, you'll notice a lot that it'll say like, oh, that'll take a really long time. Like that'll take like 5 days for me to do for you or something. And it's like its concept of time isn't accurate. Like, so you could say like, we'll do it anyways, and then it will take actually like 30 seconds to do. Like, so you have to like push back a lot, and it takes a little while to like learn like how to work around the idiosyncrasies with these tools.
Yeah.
And like tell it
Do you want
to
to see a really funny hallucination that I found that keeps on happening?
Sure.
Hey, chat, which month of the year has the letter X in it?
That would be the month of December. It's the only one with an X, at least in the word six, which makes up sixth as in the sixth day of the week in Latin roots. A little hidden, but it's there.
That keeps on happening. It's the funniest thing. And by the way, I'm teaching a class on AI at a conference in June, and I'm going to use this and another thing as an example where I'm going to ask the class, I'll ask everyone here, what type of error is that? Is that really an AI error? And I would venture to say that it is a user error, because we need to understand what it is we're working with. AI is not a calculator. Its input and output are not always going to be in sync with what we look at as reality. It's predicting, and there will be what was the word? Confabulations.
Yeah.
And we as practitioners need to know, because remember, like, there's a lot of information online about tax law that is so wrong, and AI ingested that too.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to look at the outputs and go, is this real? Or is somebody trying to be like a sovereign citizen and pretend like taxes don't apply to them? And then like, that's a whole other rabbit hole that unfortunately I'm sure AI is suggesting to somebody right now.
Yeah. So I would take the position with your clients that this is the time that they need you more than ever, because December doesn't have an X in it. And that's why they need you, because, you really can't trust this stuff for certain things. And while ChatGPT or Claude may have the answers to prepare their tax return somewhere in it, if they don't ask the right questions in the right way and use like the right reasoning skills to check for, accuracy and reasonability, like with the output, like they're screwed. They're gonna give the IRS the wrong information, so it's not that simple. And maybe we all need to get ahead of that with sending a little newsletter out to our clients, even that's like, that highlights some of these like horror stories and mistakes and errors, just to remind people of those things. I bet we're going to hear a lot of horror stories of like really like big consequences that happen from trusting AI. And, in school, it's going to be all about teaching kids how to use, like how to use this stuff accurate. Like, I mean, I remember like learning how to use a calculator, and it was like, you have to know what to type into the calculator. Like, it's not cheating to use a calculator because you have to know.
Wait, Rebecca, I have to ask you though, did you use a graphing calculator in high school?
A TI-83 Plus, yes, I did.
Did you program games into your graphing
I had
calculator?
Snake, I had Mario, and I had one other one.
This was the early stages of us learning that we were going to become accountants. We just didn't know it at the time because only very few people did that.
I still have mine.
I have mine in a drawer somewhere. Yeah.
When I was little, I took all of my books in my room and I put little labels on the bottom, like on the binding, and put like the first 2 letters of the last name of each author, because I saw the Dewey Decimal System at the library and thought it was like the coolest thing ever. And I alphabetized all my books. And my dad was like, "You're going to be an accountant." Like, you're definitely like, yeah. I didn't program games, but I played a lot of them.
I just found other people that had them already.
Yes,
programmed.
and then you
and
could
I did
attach.
learn how to. I did start like learning how to program stuff.
Yes, there were.
Literally.
Like, I don't know who the first person in my school to get the games was, but we all could like sync up somehow.
Yeah.
And get the games. Yes, yeah, it was amazing.
Now I'm gonna go back and have ChatGPT write games for my
yes.
my calculator for fun.
And you could type things, like, so we would put like notes in there, like to cheat on tests and stuff. I remember that too.
Of course.
It was
If
awful.
you didn't do that, then you weren't a good student. That's the reality.
It was, yeah. I mean, it's like being resourceful here, right? Like, but yeah, I think like one big thing, Ronnie, that maybe can come out of this that's not negative is that like we should scare our clients a little bit of like, do you really know like what you're putting, like anyone who really challenges you on it and acts like they can just do their own tax return now, like, you know, do they really have full confidence in their ability to reason through things and like make the right judgment calls? And like, you know, I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's what we get educated to do, right?
Yeah. I didn't, excuse me, mean to like come off negative. It was more like an inventory of my time.
No, I don't mean to say negative, I guess, but it's like that. I don't think that like, I just don't think that you're not going to be able to have like a super profitable, like good business, you know, as an EA. Like I just don't think that that's going to happen. Like, I think there's going to be a great opportunity there for you to
I have I guess it's too far down the line, but maybe I just throw it out there, more of a conspiratorial aspect on the end of the IRS when they're talking about teaming up with companies like Palantir and these kind of things, where there's a technological overhaul on their side that kind of makes the accounting process or the tax process obsolete. But I mean, I guess that's just conspiracy.
But I don't think the same issues that are now would apply even with the IRS having better technology. The IRS doesn't know our expenses. It doesn't know like have our deductions, like all these things. I would say more people should be more concerned, because the IRS used to be. I was just speaking to a friend of mine. He's representing some sort of tax practice like that has chains all over, and the IRS said, hey, we want 100,000 returns. And in the past you could say, hey, like let's do one every 100 or one every 300 or whatever, like sampling. But right now that still is the case, but very soon the IRS is going to say, no, we want all 100,000, because they're just going to zap all those 100,000 through their AI tools, and it's going to be able to look at every single one. So I'd be more concerned for us professionals, and for audit rates are going to get much higher. I'm not going to say hopefully. I'm going to say hopefully things will get better in general, but like you'll have less employees and they'll have the ability to do more once they get past that point. So yeah, it's not a conspiracy. It is happening.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Just wanted to flesh that out with people that are inactive and using the technology,
Yeah. I mean, the IRS, like, to get the funding that they would need to be able to implement some of these AI tools, like, I just can't imagine that. Like, they're just so behind even just on like the current technology that we have, and there's a lot of problems there. But yeah, I mean, I think for like every good thing with AI, you can think of a bad thing, but every bad thing, there's a good thing. Like, more audits, then more representation work. And maybe that's something to really lean into, like, as you're starting your career, is like, what does representation look like? Like what, like maybe that's like a niche you want to get into, and like a specialty you want to have. And, I mean, that could be a really good direction to really focus in on right now and market yourself, as like, yeah, it's, I do think that, for every like, threatening thing to our careers, there's also like a new opportunity for our careers. And, we may not need to hire as much staff, and our labor costs will go down, but there'll be still a huge demand, and like we'll have more profit because there won't be, as much overhead potentially. I don't know. But then, that's not great for the entry level staff graduating right now. And we don't really need a lot of entry level people. Like, I've used people on Upwork to help me with things, and now it's like I really don't need them, like data entry people and stuff. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, I don't have work for you because AI can do it. And so, yeah, it's really complicated. It's a lot of roller coaster of emotions. Yeah, I just think that the best thing we can do right now is to just be in conversation with each other, like just be with other accountants, like talking about this stuff, and just hear what other accountants are doing and saying and suggesting, and just be in the know, because we don't want to get left behind with it. We want to know what's going on, I think, and then we can decide what to do with it. But just being aware is like the first step here, I think. Yeah, and next week, or wait, we meet every few weeks. Like we'll have a completely different thing to talk about because so much will happen between now and then, I bet. So it'll be really interesting. So if you think of questions like that, or things that you'd like us to really dive into, next session, or things you want me to research for us to talk about next time, or if you have like questions about use case, or like, can you give me examples of how I could be using it for this, just DM me, like, and I will help you. I will prepare for, I didn't prepare a lot for today because I just kind of wanted us to get to know each other, and just sort of dive in, and go down the rabbit hole together. Any parting words? Anyone have anything they want to say?
Has anyone ever seen the picture of the room filled with spreadsheet writers? There used, before Excel, before like computer programs, there used to be people who physically wrote spreadsheets. I've never seen that. I've seen it before, and I'm like searching for it now.
No.
And people literally had
Ask
that
Claude
job.
to find it.
I'm in middle of that, and believe it or not, like not so easy. It's funny, but I've seen these pictures before, but that like literally used to be a job, and that got obsolete with Excel and all those other spreadsheet programs. And look, like we still have a job today, and probably tomorrow, next year, the year after that, I don't know, but I think it'll be a while.
Well, that's what's funny, I think, is for some of us who are coming in from different fields, we don't have a job yet. And seeing the way these things are affecting, more entry level positions, and the ability to like, I mean, obviously it can be helpful in some ways, but the way that companies are removing roles that maybe at one point would like solidify, it's like I passed the first part of the EA earlier this year. I still wasn't comfortable doing my own taxes without supervision because I really don't want to have consequences down the line for that, And so
Sure.
like with the stakes being higher with a job like this, where like people, will get a notice in 3 years that you totally screwed them, like not having that sort of, which is why this is such a great opportunity for all of us to be able to like talk to
I would
each
say
other.
now more than ever
you
is the
know?
time to do something exactly like this.
It is great. It's awesome. I'm very, very happy that I found it, as I'm sure many of us are. Like, I don't think I could do this just like I was studying before I stumbled across this. but actually like passing a multiple choice test versus having the knowledge to really do the job or really feel like two completely separate sort of things. So it's certainly a blessing, I will say that. And every time we do one of these too, like listening to other people too. I mean, Micah is amazing, but every time we have guests and every time we have different topics, it is a delight. So I appreciate you. I'm sure we all appreciate you for helping and talking to us.
Yeah. I think like this really highlights like the power of community. I know that sounds cheesy, but like, like together we can figure out how to make a living and do something we enjoy doing and get creative together on, how to move forward in this new world that we're in. But it's much better to do it together than to do it alone. So happy to be with you guys. All right. Well, we're out of time, but please don't be shy about reaching out to me in between sessions because I'd be happy to support you with anything you need. And we will figure this out. We're going to be okay.
Next time, everyone bring something cool that you did with AI and we'll share it. I think
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's just stay positive, Rebecca. This is supposed to be fun.
Well, I felt like I led with that. And then I was like, oh, wait, yeah. Like this, based on where you guys are sitting right now, I could see some concern. That makes sense. Like, and I don't know, I had a large book of business in a firm and my clients would not have left me if they built a relationship with me and they were paying for that relationship. They weren't paying they didn't care what software I used. They didn't care if I had AI do everything. They wanted to connect with me and not like have someone that explained things to them in the way that I explain things to them. There's so much more than a tax return that you're giving. We did a lot of therapy. It was like, it's a relationship that they're paying for. And, who wants to have a relationship with a computer? We want to have relationships with other humans. So yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think it's a very healthy moment to have the AI aspect in the program, just from just a technological standpoint and just a mental standpoint, confidence, all of the above. Because even trying to run the firm that I've been trying to put together, bookkeeping and now tax, acquiring customers has also been like the challenge. So to have all these different modes, getting the certifications, learning the new technology, and acquiring the customers, like it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the best places to find customers, I would suggest, is like larger accounting firms, because they are looking to offload clients, to someone who is starting out and, they're like, so looking for firms that are not the same size as you, that are much bigger, like they're going to be the best place to get clients. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Hopefully I'll talk to some of you in between, and then hopefully some of you will come back next time.
Thank you for talking to us.
Of course. My pleasure. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good week, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.